They don't employ people with criminal offenses. I've had an incident where I had 3 police cars outside my home, 6 police officers inside my house. Having any kind of offense or conviction on your record is bound to affect your chances of landing a job, especially those jobs which require high levels of responsibility and trust. And we're looking at jobs like the nursing jobs, healthcare assistant jobs, doctors' jobs, any jobs which require you to work with the public. So in this video, I'm going to share with you why you should never ever have any form of offense or conviction on your record. I'm going to be sharing with you one of the worst things which I did here in UK. I actually committed an offense, which I'm going to be sharing with you in today's video. So if you are new to my channel, my name is Pauline Popomoyo, and in this channel, we keep things real. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about the reality of having any offenses or convictions here in UK. And make sure you watch this video to the end, because you don't want to find yourself on the wrong side of the law, because it will cost you. Without wasting any of your time, let's get into it.
I'm a savage, classy, bougie, ratchet, sassy, moody, nasty, acting stupid. What was happening? What was happening? I'm a savage.
So guys, I'm going to share with you 3 major things which happen when you have any kind of offense or conviction. The number one thing is you reduce your chances of being employed, especially with jobs that require high levels of responsibility and trust. So if you are applying from overseas to come and work maybe in the healthcare field, whether you want to be a healthcare assistant or you want to be a doctor, you want to work in the health fraternity, if you have a criminal record, you reduce your chances of getting a job. That's why you see that when you come here to UK, they want to have a police clearance from your country to make sure that you did not commit any crimes in your country. And before you come here to UK, they'll still do a DBS just to make sure that you don't have any criminal record. So that shows us how important it is to have a clean record, because without a clean record, you will not be employed, or you reduce your chances of being employed. Number 2, enrollment into education. If you are hoping, let's say if you are here in the UK and you have an offense or a conviction, if you're hoping to continue with education, for example, you want to go to university, you want to start a master's degree in nursing or whatever, you will likely not be enrolled, because if you are enrolling for vocational studies, as long as that course will land you in a place where there are vulnerable adults or there are children, you will not be accepted if you have a criminal record. Number 3, getting an insurance is going to be very costly for you. For example, if you want to get a car insurance, if you have a previous criminal record, whether it's for speeding or whatever, and you have some points in your license, getting a car insurance, for example, can be very expensive for you, because they're looking at the record that you have. You cannot be trusted, so the insurance goes up. And if you're, for example, an overseas nurse, let's say you come and work in UK, or you're like me and you're working in UK, if you have a criminal record, if you have any offense, it becomes difficult for you to get an indefinite leave to remain. There is an individual that I know who was caught drinking and driving and was not able to get an indefinite leave to remain for 20 years because he had 2 counts of drinking and driving. When he applied for his indefinite leave to remain, or when he applied to have former papers, because this was an asylum seeker, he was denied, and it took him a good 20 years for the Home Office to finally say, we are now granting you an indefinite leave to remain. So guys, you see how important it is to avoid having a criminal record. So what is the worst thing that I did when I came here to UK? So on this particular day, when I was going to work, I've shared with you a point in time where I had my car poured with acid. And at that particular point in time, guys, I was very, let me say, I was a nervous wreck. I was not comfortable sleeping at home. I had no support system, and I was barely sleeping on those days, and it was very difficult living at home. It was very difficult living in my own home. So I was undergoing a whole lot of stress at that particular time. And when I was going to work, because I work in different places, and most of the places, some of them are 30 minutes away, 40 minutes away, 20 minutes away, 10 minutes away, and so forth and so on. So in this particular day, I was working at the furthest place, which is like 40 minutes away from home. And when I was in the motorway, because I was using the motorway, from the rear view mirror, I saw police behind me. So when I saw the police behind me, what did I do? I switched the lanes, hoping that they will pass, but they didn't pass. They switched and went behind me. Now I started to wonder, what is going on? Why did they switch lane instead of passing? So what do? I switched the lane again. After switching the lane again, they just drive parallel to me. And the person was driving tense and looks at me, and I turn and I look at him, and our eyes locked. And then he spoke to the colleague. I don't know what he was talking about. And me, in my mind, I'm starting to calculate, because so when acid was put on my car, the final conclusion was that it was a hate crime because I was a black individual in a white community. That's why I experienced the hate crime. That was the conclusion anyway. So when I saw this police officer looking at me and now starting to speak to the colleague, I was like, is it something to do with my skin color? What have I done now? So I moved forward, and then they moved back behind me. And they followed me for a good 10 kilometers. And when they followed me for a good 10 kilometers, a lot of things were going on in my head. Why are they following me? If I committed a crime, do they want to shoot me? All these nasty things were going on in my head. Then all of a sudden, I was like, let me run away from them. Yes, I was like, let me run away from the police in the motorway. So as soon as there was space, they were behind me. As soon as there was space in front of me, I went Sonic Hedgehog on the police. I started speeding. And as soon as I started speeding, their lights turned blue. And you know what I had? They were after me. I don't even know what I was thinking, guys, but I just sped. They were after me and they pulled me over. And when they pulled me over, the police officer came to the passenger side. And then I rolled down the window and said to me, "Ma'am, do you know what speed you're traveling at?" I didn't even look at the police officer. When he was talking to me, I was looking at the side like this. And then the police officer stood there looking at me, and I could feel that he was looking at me because I was looking away. I wasn't even looking at him. Then he said to me, "Do you know that we've been following you for the past 10 miles? It's at such a point you're traveling at what instead of what? It's at such a point you're traveling at what instead of what? And all of a sudden, you started speeding and you exceeded the speed limit by what? And my response was, Black Lives Matter. I don't even know what I was thinking, but the response that I gave him was Black Lives Matter. Then he was like, "Excuse me, what do you mean Black Lives Matter?" I kept quiet and looked aside. Then he was like, "What happened to your car?" Because it was fresh after the incident, a few days after the incident. Then I said to him, "Being black happened." He just looked at me. Then I said to him, "You see, guys, just like you've already said, you've been following me for the past 10 miles. I'm a black woman who has just experienced a hate crime. How do you expect me to feel if I have police following me behind? Obviously, I'm going to panic, especially after this incident which has happened to me. That's why I ended up running away from you, because I did not know what your intentions were. Do you want to shoot me? Do you want to kill me? I don't know. It's painful being black in this country." And at that particular point, I was now crying. The police officer just looked at me and was like, "You know what?" And I was in uniform. And he was like, "You know what? I don't want to spoil your evening. As you see, the road is wet, it is slippery, and you're on your way to work, obviously. So I'm not going to spoil your evening, but make sure that you travel at the stipulated speed and make sure that you keep a reasonable distance between you and the next car, because you're not keeping a reasonable distance between you and the next car." And then from there, they said, "You can go." They released me. They said, "You can go." So by right, I was supposed to get a speeding ticket and also get a ticket for running away from the police, but somehow they were lenient. They did not penalize me for this crime that I committed. I've had an incident where I had 3 police cars outside my home, 6 police officers inside my house, of which I'm not going to talk about. That incident is too traumatic to even talk about. I also had another offense of speeding. It wasn't speeding as such. I was traveling at 34 miles an hour on a 30-mile-per-hour road. You think that 4 is marginal, but no. I was sent a letter to tell me that you're traveling at 34 instead of 30. So you've got an option of having points in your license, or you go for a speed awareness course. So I opted for a speed awareness course, and I don't have points in my license. So at this point in time, guys, I do not have any record with the police. Of course, I've had offenses, but they're not bad enough to actually have it put down on record or affect my DPS. So my DPS is still as white as snow, still very clean. But the important thing that I wanted to share with you guys is that do not find yourself in the wrong side of the law. Do not find yourself in the wrong side of the law, because you don't want a situation whereby when you're now applying for your ILR, they tell you that 4 years ago you committed this offense, 3 years ago you committed this offense. Make sure that you keep your DPS as clean as possible, because if your DPS is tainted with any offenses, that is the end of you. So this is all that I wanted to share with you guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any of my videos. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you in my next video.